When his girlfriend is kidnapped by an aging supervillain, Noah and his roommate Cody must unite a team of unorthodox superpowered citizens to not only rescue the girl, but stop the villain's plans of world domination. In Nobody's Hero, the latest novel from your boy Crypto Comics and the Lost Library. Available right now in digital and print form on Amazon.com. Hello, all you beautiful people in Webtown, and welcome back to another marvelous Malibu March day here on Crypto Comics. This is cable number issue 43, and I picked up a couple of these cable issues from the year 1997 because they dealt with the legend of the Ascani Sun. And we have done quite the extensive deep dive into cable's history, into cable's origin here on Crypto Comics. You can see that in the back issue bins. Check out the Marvel Comics playlist. It all begins with the Executioner's song, and then it moves into the adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix. And that moves in to the Ascani Sun 4-issue miniseries. And we picked that up here again this month with the further adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, which revealed to us the origin of Mr. Sinister. And now it's time to delve more into the legend of the Ascani Sun. And very briefly, if you haven't watched any of that stuff I've been talking about, if you are not one of my Kryptonites yet, you just showed up, you should probably check out that Marvel Comics playlist before you look any further than here. We actually have a guy here who is training some disciples of the Ascani. He's traveled back 2,000 years in time to teach these young disciples who look forward to the day when Cable will lead them in victory in the destruction of Apocalypse. And this story flashes back and forth between when Cable was in the future, 2,000 years from now. These are all post-Ascani Sun miniseries events. And I don't want to get into it too deep because there's something actually better I want to talk about. But then he also is saving this kid here while he's fighting in the future. And yeah, he's saving him from a bunch of bullies. But then it turns out that the kid is a mutie himself and starts showing them his nightmares. And of course, Cable's going to teach him, to control himself and to try to become a good mutant. And Cable takes over their minds and protects them and makes it all dissipate, makes all the evil dissipate that the kid was projecting. And these acolytes of the Ascani are still preparing the path for Cable. But their leader, it's going to turn out, has a more nefarious plan in mind. I don't want to spoil all of this for you. You can check out this issue. And meanwhile, several thousand miles away in Salem Center, New York, it's not fair. Scott and Nathan shouldn't have to go through all this again. Her name is Jean Grey, and she's reliving a tragedy she thought she'd buried several years ago. A tragedy she fears will have fearsome repercussions for her husband, Scott Summers, a.k.a. Cyclops, and his son, Nathan Christopher, the man called Cable. They looked so content then. Scott and Madelyne were happily married. Nathan had just been born. It must have seemed like nothing could hurt them. But then Madelyne discovered she was a genetic duplicate of me, created by a madman known as Sinister. It drove her to evil. Not only did she nearly destroy the X-Men, but she came within an inch of murdering her own son. When she died, it almost seemed merciful, like her pain was finally over. But now Madelyne's somehow been recreated. You're going to have to see that in X-Man, issue number 25. I can't shake the feeling that Cable is going to have to confront the ghost of the woman who gave birth to him. And I'm the only one who can warn him of the danger he's in. Next issue, The Last Temptation of Nathan Dayspring. And that's what we're really here to talk about. It's not Cable. It's the sins of the mother. At long last, the Ascani Sun comes face to face with Madelyne Pryor. Cable issue 44 from June of 1997. And this is where a man by the name of James Robinson began scripting this book. Here at Crypto Comics, I have become a very big fan of James Robinson solely because of his work on the detective thriller Firearm from the Ultraverse, which we've covered extensively over the last 6 months here at Crypto Comics. And I look forward to talking about more in the future as we get closer to the Rafferty saga. But at this moment in time in 1997, James Robinson had finally gotten the opportunity to tell some X-Men tales, which, if he's as good at telling X-Men tales as he is at telling Firearm tales, this should be a quality run on Cable. I enjoyed this one quite a bit, and I want to share it with you because this just isn't about the Ascani son necessarily. This is about the origins of Madelyne Pryor herself. And I think a lot of fans probably don't even realize that this exists. Wake up, Nathan. I'm here for you. Wake up, my little boy. Red? Something's wrong, Scott. He won't snap out of it. Jean? Jean Grey? No. Though I'm sorry to say it. For perhaps if I was, I'd be better assured of my welcome. And you welcoming me warmly means so much. Then who? The name is Madelyne Pryor, Nate. Does that mean anything to you? Madelyne Pryor? But you died. Yes, well, I'm sure you've noticed how in our world that can, at best, be temporary. I'm back, Nathan, and I have another name, you know. A name you and you alone can call me. You mean mother? Son? It's good to see you again, for the first time. I can't say it's good to see you. Why are we here? Where are we? What's the last thing you remember? At the Xavier Institute. I was meditating. He won't wake up, Scott. Something's wrong. I've even tried glancing upon the rim of his thoughts. It's like a closed trap. His body's frozen in place too. Some kind of telekinetic stasis. I hope we'd get here in time. Warn him that somehow his biological mother is alive. But I think we're too late. I still can't believe that Madelyne is alive. She's a psionic ghost created by X-Man. Is that living? You'd be the one to tell me. The question is, how do we stop her? How do we save Nathan? For the moment, I'm not sure. Watch him. Monitor his movements, if any. And hope that if there's a battle being fought in Nate's head, a victory to be won, that he's winning it. I entered your mind while you had it open, in the meditative state. Oh, and I shut the door after me, so no one else can enter and interrupt our reunion. We're on the astral plane. The astral plane? Yes, you know, the realm of pure thought that can link every mind on Earth, accessible to telepaths such as ourselves. Wait around long enough and we'll probably see Doctor Strange fly by. That astral plane? Within it, we can jump from location to location, site to site. Why? I want to show you my life, Nathan. I want to show you our life, what little of it we had together. And perhaps I can convince you why we should remain together now. This is where it began. Sinister's laboratory on the outskirts of London, where as a man named Nathaniel Essex, he tampered with the very laws of nature and creation. You can see all of that in the origin of Mr. Sinister that we covered here at the beginning of Marvelous Malibu March. Check it out in the Marvel playlist. Are we alone? I'm sure Sinister would rather die than return to this place of heartbreak. Don't worry, it's been deserted for more than a century. Chris Bacalo welcomes aboard James Robinson. So James Robinson was writing Cable and Generation X beginning in the summer of '97. Oh, did I forget to mention the guard that Sinister left behind? One of his earlier failed experiments in genetics. Well, my son, what are you waiting for? Aren't you going to protect your mother? Boom, 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 boom. Nothing. Slice. Nothing. There was nothing there. When did you realize? Before I drew the knife across his throat, I scanned his brain. He didn't have one. You tricked me. No, I tested you. I wanted to know how far you'd go for me. I wanted to know if you cared enough to fight for me. And now you do. Congratulations. Next time, why not just ask me? I'm sick of this place. So am I. Come, Nathan, let's take a walk. Earlier you said the lab was where everything began. In that temple of decay. What did you mean by that? Where what began? Me? You? In a way, yes. It was in that shadowy edifice that a brilliant geneticist became the madman known as Sinister. This is where Nathaniel Essex worked in despair. His theories about evolution were mocked, reviled by the scientific community he so wanted to impress. Is it any wonder he fell under the influence of the immortal Apocalypse, who gave him the knowledge and power to transform himself? He became Mr. Sinister. One can only guess at why he would choose such a puerile moniker, but in 1859, when he coined it, I'm sure it seemed the height of cutting edge. And you can actually find out the real truth about why he's named Mr. Sinister when you watch that Origin of Mr. Sinister video in the back issue bins here at Crypto Comics. His science certainly was the height of cutting edge. Yes, it was in that dank lair when he took that first faltering step on the twisted path that led to him creating us. And it was a place of heartbreak. His research cost him his wife, his unborn child. It seems that all advancement comes at a cost. Look at us, all we've lost. And we were but pawns in the game. How so, Madelyne? Sinister, obsessed with the Summers bloodline and its genetic potential, endeavored to create the ultimate example of Homo superior, the weapon he could use to annihilate a master he could no longer abide, the supreme mutant, you, my son. Sinister was patient. He waited. He selected the pieces of his puzzle over a century's time, Scott Summers and Jean Grey. But when Jean Grey seemingly perished, he had to settle for a clone to breed with Summers. I was the result. Human, and yet a ghost of humanity. He gave me false memories, made me believe in the lie that was Madelyne Pryor. He made me meet Scott, we fell in love, and then there was you. His aim was to create a being who could destroy the millennia-old mutant apocalypse. That is your mission in this present time, I'm guessing. Am I right? My mission is my business, no one else's. My point is that at least you were conceived for a purpose. I was merely breeding chattel. A piece in Sinister's scheme, but not the glorious end result of anything. Do you realize you share a similar first name with Sinister? He may have even planted the suggestion in my mind to call you that as some sort of twisted tribute to himself. So even there, the naming of my son, I was doing Sinister's bidding. But if we were united again, mother and son, then I feel my life would have meaning. I would be in control of my destiny. And I could share that destiny with the only one in all the world who could possibly understand. I need that, Nathan. Can you help me? That's a sad story, Madelyne. I won't deny it. But a lot of people have bad beginnings. My own was no children's happy story tale. I can't feel pity for you, not after all the pain you've caused. Well, perhaps you should try harder. This was my kindergarten. This was my school. This was my life. Look around you. This is Sinister's modern laboratory beneath the state home for foundlings in Nebraska, where I was cloned from the cells of Jean Grey. At least you know I am your mother. You know Summers is your father. Who were my parents? Chemicals and test tubes? What of your childhood could possibly compare? You have no idea. By the time I was 14, I had gone into combat over 100 times. I had fought in the War of the East Veldt, and had been one of 10 to survive out of 10,000. It doesn't seem there was a day I didn't know the heat of some kind of battle. Ah, well, perhaps we should get away from the heat altogether. Just give me a moment to telekinetically rearrange the molecules of my clothing. Outside, in the physical world. Nathan's gone cold, Scott. Feel his brow. What could it be a sign of? This is where I was happiest. I think in our world, being happy equals being normal. And I lived here at the time when I thought I was. When I met Scott and entered his life, one where he and his beloved X-Men would routinely risk their lives for this hateful planet, I was terrified. I tried not to show it, but with each crazy event, I wanted to run away screaming. But I loved him so, your father. I was brave for him. When we married, it was the happiest day. And then we had you, my son. We were a couple, and baby makes 3. Here in Alaska, away from the madness. It's quiet here. You like that? The quiet? Never truly known it. So what took you back to the world you'd fled? Your father. He returned to his kind when they needed him. He betrayed me. My love for him. It wasn't duty? It wasn't that he had to? Perhaps yes. Perhaps he did return to the madness out of duty. But in doing so, he made a choice. He chose the X-Men and Jean Grey over me. Come, this place made me content, but now I'm sad. Where are we going next? From peace and quiet to the one place that never is. New York, top of the Empire State Building. I hate this city. So do I. Why do you hate it so? I enjoy reading the sacred texts that were lost in the future I returned from.
The Quran, Buddhist scriptures, and of course the Bible. The Bible describes the Tower of Babel. When God decided that the world should have many languages, everyone in the tower began speaking differently. No one understood anyone else. There was confusion and fear. That is how I regard New York, where no one takes the time to listen and understand.
My reason for despising this city is far more simple. I died here. This is where Jean Grey killed me.
Well, you were trying to turn Manhattan into hell on earth at the time by sacrificing me, Mother. And from what I've been told, you brought about your own destruction. Jean was trying desperately to save you.
That's what they would tell you. That's just the kind of lie they'd say. No, I was struck down by the X-Men's treachery. Why can't you see they're evil, my son? They claim to want peace and to end persecution for their own mutant kind. Don't you see the madness in their world? All the innocents who die by the roadside of their endeavors? Their evil is a subtle one, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't be stopped.
Evil? You think what the X-Men do is evil? I've said it before and I say it now. You have no idea.
And he just pushes her out of the way. Oh, Soul Blade, look at that. Feeling it. Powered by Namco. And of course, Jean's gonna, try to tap into his mind.
This is evil. Apocalypse's lair in the remote desert of Egypt. A stone's throw from a village once called Akaba. You talk of the X-Men's noble efforts as if they were some insidious thing. But this, the work of an immortal madman, is far more vile. Though he's gone from here, the place still reeks of his dark soul. He is the one I'm sworn to defeat. Perhaps not in the manner you might think, but it is still a task that requires all my attention. That is my quest, my goal. You, Madelyne, you don't even truly exist. You're all the misery and misfortune that the real Madelyne endured, given a semblance of life. All the things that keep Madelyne's soul from being at rest. I can never be yours.
But together we could destroy all of mutant kind, everything that wasn't normal and safe, everything that made Scott Summers desert me. We could destroy them all, the X-Men, Sinister, even Apocalypse. You said you were sworn to defeat Apocalypse, but you've been here from the future for years. Why haven't you killed him yet? What stopped you all this time? Together, there would be nothing that could stop you, and we could rise from that destruction to rule, the two of us, mother and son, two outsiders who will never truly belong here.
You call mutants evil, Madelyne, but you forget one thing. I am a mutant. And although in another lifetime you were my mother by blood, I can never see you in that light. There's another who I remember from my earliest recollections. One whose example showed me that identity is determined by action, not birthright.
Don't say it, Nathan, please.
The one woman you probably hate above all.
Jean Grey, this is your doing, Nathan.
No, but I think it's the reason I was suddenly able to transport us here. Your power is weakening. Jean is breaking through.
One final time, Nathan, I'm begging you. Come with me.
No, Madelyne. Never.
And you care nothing for me?
Alaska, where you knew happiness and I found a moment of peace. The cabin there. That shall be our neutral territory. Our place to meet if we ever need to.
I suppose that's something. But know that you're wrong about me, Nathan. I am real. And in time, I'll prove it.
Maybe. But if you threaten innocent lives, including the X-Men, know that I'll fight you as hard as I'd oppose any enemy. Jean will be completely through soon. You should go.
Yes. Farewell, Nathan Summers, my son.
It's Nate. He's waking up. You did it, Jean.
And they did indeed do it. In this wonderful first issue of Cable, written by James Robinson, the excitement begins in issue 44. But, if you want a little precursor, you pick up issue 43, and that'll set you right too. I really enjoyed these issues of Cable. This was a lot of fun. This is after I had stopped collecting Marvel comics predominantly, and so it was fun to pick these up. Artwork by Randy Green on both of these, and Randy Green's kind of the main artist, and then he gets a little bit of an assist from another person, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Randy Green and Chap Yape on issue 43. And Randy Green with Alan M. do the pencils on issue 44. So another little key piece in the history of the man they call Cable, the man your boy Crypto prefers to call Nathan Dayspring, the Ascani son. And I will be back with more Marvel comics. I will be back next time with a Malibu comic, but the party is going to keep on rocking all month long because it is Marvelous Malibu March. So we're going to be talking about Marvel. We're going to be talking about Malibu Comics Ultraverse. We're going to be talking about some of the best and maybe worst comics of the 1990s as Crypto Comics continues to rock you throughout the year, baby. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe, hit the ding dong for notifications, then dive into those back issue bins and find yourself something else new to watch. And hey, while you're at it, pick up any of my books. I don't care if it's Nobody's Hero. I don't care if it's Young Barbarians, Gaslight Gang, Curse of the Grey Gargoyle, and Destination Genesis. And if you do pick them up, remember to leave a good review. I really appreciate it. Now, until tomorrow, I humbly remain the man of 1,000 voices, the one, the only, Crypto Comics.